Well, up is down, down is up. I don't know what's happening today. A series that looked like M80's way over on paper. Totally different score here, Dan. That was a very strong victory coming out from TSM, 13-7. What's happening today?
I'm really glad we all thought this was going to go to 3 maps. I'm really glad everything is going according to plan, because if you had in your prep there's going to be a 2-0 for M80, I have bad news for you. It was a TSM just dominating on this map, especially on that second half. The first half was so close between the two. It was a 6-6. Then TSM, they won the second pistol. Also to be mentioned, they won the first pistol, won the second one, and then they just carried on that momentum towards until the very end. TSM, that it just seems like this is one of those maps where you cannot play in the same way that you play on Breeze, kind of individual, going for those picks by yourself. This is one where you need to combine utility, you need to play together, and we talked about the differences between the two compositions, one on the Gecko, the other one with the Breach, and it was just the Breach that was really coming up on top. It's crazy I say that as BCJ clutches that round, but it was really the impact that you see for Poise that was allowing so much mobility, so much map control on the side of TSM, and it's also an ace to close it out for 7, which is pretty good. He definitely had enough of that one.
Do you see that? 16 first kills on the way of M80 there, despite the 7-round wins. I mean, absolutely incredible. And Gomps, I really have to applaud TSM too, how they were able to bounce back, because I mean, we know the talent on the squad, but after a 16-18 loss on your map pick, dragging that out, the way they were able to bounce back here was incredible.
No, and it made sense, to be honest with you. Like, again, like emphasizing the 16-4, you look at the stats and it looks as though M80, they had such a good start in the beginning, which they did, right? We got to see Xander and Nismo setting up Kuala Noob for success, like during the entries, and a lot of the time it really did feel like this team was going to run away with the win. M80 was the one and the winners, but I felt like the moment we started to really swap and see GMD kind of push, as well as Poised, I guess, push for the team on the attack and utilize all of that initiator and controller util, as they weren't really very capable to do so because of the pressure M80 were pushing on the attacking side. I felt like that's when we saw TSM shine, and that's where a lot of that gameplay really started to shine through. But yeah, ace from 7, ending it off. It really does feel like a punch in the face, especially after an OT win coming through from M80.
And TSM really being able to show us what they're about, and someone that the casters were talking about, and we already talked about a little bit here, but I want to dive a little bit deeper into, is the impact that Poise was able to have on this map here, Dan. Because when you're looking at the stats, 14-12, okay, it's good, but there's so much more too that we have to talk about. The clutch percentage, we all saw the clutch where TSM were able to take the lead there. We got to see so much coming out from here, and this breach made such a huge impact.
This guy was the difference maker for this match, and it's something that we kind of see when we look at the stats. We kind of see when we're watching the game, but as the IGL, turning this map around when it was so close at the beginning is not something easy to do, and it is a round that we can really point out to where we really saw is that round 16, where it was the pistol win for TSM, second round goes to TSM, third round the bonus gets denied by M80, and what does Poise do? He clutches in that round number 4 of the second half with a 1v2, and it wasn't anything crazy, anything flashy, but it was a round that they knew they needed to win to carry on with that momentum. After that, it was 5 rounds in a row that they played out and won to close out this map. So just an impact that you can see in game and outside of the game for Poise. To also talking about this breach and going back to that conversation, when you're capitalizing out of the fact that M80, even though they were running this composition with the breach as well, they made the change since last time around. Nismo was not on the KO, was on the breach, so they were playing this breach Gecko that you can tell they could not combine as much as you want to with those two initiators, with the flashes coming together, and that is something that Poise was able to do, having that extra match experience on this map with the breach and the KO, and that's more than enough to close out the map and take us to the third one.
And that impact really can't be understated as well, too, because when we started talking about the series kick things off, we highlighted a lot about Sim, and Sim in comparison on this map, a little bit quieter, thank you Uber, but one to 11 for first kills, first deaths, but TSM still winning by such an exceptional margin. And I have to wonder now how this third and decider map is going to be shaking up, because looking at the past for both of these teams on Lotus, I mean, Gomps, it has been a little shaky in the past, to say the least. So I think this is going to be really, really cool to see where each team has grown since then.
I love the Lotus more so on the favorite side of TSM though. And I call me controversial. Maybe I'm jinxing it. I don't know. Today has been a weird day, but I really do like the Lotus because they really enjoy their early access to information. And that's the thing I'm really looking forward to. We got to see Seven get the ace the last obviously during the last point of that round. And I do think they're all shining so well and consecutively to the point where this is going to be probably the most dangerous map for M80. You have Seven, Sim, and GMD who love to put three-man pushes towards outside C and occasionally A, and they love their early access to that info. So this map in particular, if M80 can shut that down, perfect. They have a game on their hands. But otherwise, I think this is a place where you really need to be careful.
We are just now starting to see those weaker sides of our M80, a team that we saw in the first 4 weeks of stage 1, going undefeated not only in matches, but also in maps. Then they had that week number 5 where they lost to Turtle Troop, and one of the maps that they lost was this one, this map of Lotus, where things were just not going their way. Now, once again, we see them losing one map, that the 13-7 that we just watched on Sunset. And Lotus, it's a very strong map for TSM. We just got to see it 2 days ago. They played out this map. They started on the defensive side, actually, and it's a defense that not many players, not many teams are able to do, where it was actually looking strong. They were going for the aggression on the A side. On the C side, there was always something, some proactive plays going on, especially in the hands of Sim. If we remember Sim from that match that they played against YFP, this is the map that also made a difference for Sim and getting those first kills, going for aggressive positionings as they were doing on that map number 1 towards the beginning. And that Lotus is going to depend so much more on that, especially because this map number 2 was not the greatest for him, and there was still some answer to be found there.
See, where I'm looking at this Lotus specifically from M80 is, sure, they were winning it up until their week 5, but they were actually pretty close games, 13-11 wins both time around. And one of those wins was over it all comes around full circle. It was up against TSM in the week 1 here. And TSM, I think, especially from what we've seen in this mid-season cup compers, they have improved a lot. Both a couple of maps that we've already seen, they have revitalized a little bit. They've changed up the agent compositions, and they're kind of highlighting their players a little bit more. And Lotus is one of those maps where they've made those changes as well. So when we're looking back on this, this is going to be a really worthy showdown on both ends.
Yeah, I mean, you said it perfectly, right? They've put a lot of work into refining themselves and not being that team that should be the top dogs, but just aren't. And, you know, going through obviously the regular season of Challengers and kind of just like slowly losing that reputation of a team that should have stomped, a team that should have performed, it really does put you in a bad limelight. So I think that's just the gist here. Hey, we're not bad. We just had a bad series. We had a bad games, and we're coming back, and we're going to show you exactly what we're capable of. And I think this map is honestly the perfect way for a possibility to end off if you're TSM, especially against M80. This is, again, a rematch map too, because during that week 1, it was 13-11 that they played on Lotus. So what a good way to kind of end off the whole entire series.
And if I have 2 things that I'm thinking of right now when it comes to M80. The first one is that, again, we remember and we remind everybody that this is just a single elim, just one chance to make it forward, or you're out. So it's going to be that chance for them to, or not even that chance, but this is the time for them to prove that they are the best team, that they are the team that we've been talking about, the team that is already a contender for Ascension, that we should put all the way up there, maybe seeing tier 1 next year. And if you get eliminated in the mid-season cup, just like that by TSM, it seems like all the work that you put towards the beginning of the year, all those 4 undefeated matches that we saw in that first split are going to go in vain. So yeah, you're the best team, but how are you going to continue being the best team? Are you also evolving as the other teams are, as TSM is, or are things going to stay the same? It's a big map for M80 more than anything, more than anybody else. And TSM on the other side, they are the ones that have all the space. They don't have the pressure. They're not the favorites here. And this is something they can really play around and bring a surprise to everybody watching.
elimination on the line. Time to head into our agent select. We've gotten to see M80 quite a few times here, and what they tend to go towards for the agent select and the changes that TSM had. I mean, we're going off to compers and making things even across the board. This is purely going to be skill to determine who's coming out on top.
Yeah, same type of composition that TSM had played previously. I'm not really surprised. Although for M80, it is, yeah, same thing again. So this is, again, mirror composition, but also the type of thing that we do like to see. The Fade, interesting choice for the initiator. I mean, overall, I see no issue with this. This is the comfort pick for both sides. This is exactly what TSM tend to lock in when they play on a map like Lotus. So I'm expecting the same gameplay that I saw before out of TSM, same gameplay I'm expecting out of M80, but most of all, just who is better with the comp.
And just keep in mind, for the first time today, it is going to be that Sim and Nismo duel in the duelist role. We've been seeing Koala throughout today with the Jet, even with the Raze, but now Koala is going to be on the Omen. Nismo is going to continue on this Raze as he's been doing on this map, but it's the first time that we have this head-to-head today, and that can really change things around.
I cannot wait to dive into this, so we're not going to have to wait any longer. It's time to head over to Lotus with Uber and Wyatt.
Thank you very much, Sierra. Yeah, we've recently seen TSM, it took them a little while to modernize their Lotus. They were playing the Sky for quite a while through like the regular stage. They've picked up this Fade now, though, so we do have a mirror comp. It does mean that Nismo moves over towards the Raze or the duelist here. And I feel like whenever we've seen M80 on this map wide, it's very scrappy, especially the post plants. Extremely messy, as they often tend to be on Lotus.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And Dan as well at the end on the desk mentioned the Nismo switch to Raze. Nismo is a beast on that agent. And, when he's playing Breach on the previous map, obviously not giving him as many opportunities to shine as an individual. Here on Raze, if he can get into the Nismo form that we have seen countless times, he could definitely carry M80 over the line, even though today we have not seen them at their best in regards to the team play. They've been far more individualistic than usual. They haven't been holding angles for each other properly in a lot of situations, and it's allowed TSM to exploit mistakes and get away with a lot, finding easy kills at times. So we'll see if M80 can clean things up here. Start off on a good foot on this pistol round.
Early open a door here, just in case there's encroachment on Mound, but that would have been spotted out by the alarm bot that Nitro's just recalled. So M80 here, pretty active early. TSM look to move up through B main.
With that alarm bot being broken, and obviously, oh wow, Nitro's actually able to claim the first kill onto Sim.
There's more.
It is really nice. He doesn't really need much more now. Just wait for his teammates, and now they're fighting together.
Double stacking here from Upper. Great paranoia. Catches a proto and vertically downward. Nitro plunges after fighting his fourth for the round. TSM just don't have any interest in working either of the extremities. Straight into B, straight into the meat grinder.
I mean, oftentimes you're going to be able to get B relatively for free there, but it's Nitro's first kill onto Sim. Sim, by the way, having 11 first deaths on the last map, and they still won a 13-7, which is outrageous.
The 4v5 conversion for TSM must have been absolutely ridiculous. Because it's not like Koala Noob or Xano was getting a first kill.
It was 9 rounds, I think.
That's just so ridiculous.
I mean, that is
There's no excuse for M80. That's rough.
There's no excuse. They have to turn up now and prove that they are the team that everyone thinks that they can be, should be. And Nitro starting things off really well.
There's a beautiful pistol. Now, though, TSM, through that Viper wall on A, are going for B again. This time, though, from a slightly different angle. There's a double face already set up that went Upper. BCJ almost caught with util in hand. C's thrown out. Satchel will be circumvented by Sim for now. But they know he's there. Can they make the correction? Okay. Apparently not. TSM here take a lot of damage. Keep that in mind. They are very, very low. But they were to get 2 pistol kills and Kimon for basically freeze able to find Koala Noob there at Upper. M80 down to 2 players. Yeah, they're healthy. They have good weapons. But they're nowhere near the action.
This round just devolved into nonsense. A Koala Noob there was sending in the paranoia before either of his teammates were anywhere close to him. He only had a Marshall and tried to take the swing. It's his teammates who had the rifle. Xander's trying to at least do some damage here, which will not allow TSM to carry guns over into the next round. So economic influence for sure. Matter of fact, it just became in their best interest to go down to the spike. So at the very least, a bit of a consolation, but it doesn't feel like a consolation when you lose your anti-eco.
I'm sorry. That was absurd. It's like Dr. Seuss wrote the script for the 7 p.m. news. It doesn't make any bloody sense at all. Just a couple of these like individual faces here, like a pistol swing from B main, 2 players coming from off angles. Very, very odd for M80. That is, it's going to make them so mad. And again, they really have to find a way to bounce back with this. Hero rifle, at least for Nitro, as he carried that out of the previous round.
Shadows traveling.
All of M80 trying to get active, pushing out B early off a Prowler, no one there to face. Are they just going to try to take this fight immediately on Mound now? Oh, it's BCJ walking out almost to his demise. Just going to slip back.
Toxin screen down.
That is conditioned at least, Wyatt, that door opening early in the round. Maybe it's M80 saying to TSM, you can't risk playing fast over Mound because we'll just rip this door open and gun you down. So again, they've done that again. TSM trending towards A, M80 in the opposite direction.
It's the right call from Poise to make this adjustment towards A, just work their way back into rubble. They're going to use that haunt just to re-clear the back there in case someone was posted up. Eyes on Xander is going to force a smoke from GMD to cover stairs. Still, TSM, they're just taking their time. They don't want to expose themselves to any players, lose a player for no reason. I say that. Boy's making a ton of noise in Mound. It's totally caught off.
Maybe he's not expecting a rotation from that angle, Poised. Still, it's going to be a long time before M80 are ready for this. And Xander, with nothing but a ghost, couldn't really hold his own at all. Now TSM, in a rarity for Lotus, have the option to play off the side a bit because of how much time they have. Not that they're aware. And kind of because of that, they'll instead just try and overload upper. 7's good for 2. Spray down with the Odin there behind the Paranoia.
One enemy remaining.
And there's just nothing you can do. You are seized.
Ultimate is ready.
I mean, really can't miss it, in fairness. Nowhere else really that, you know, M80 looked like they were going to go.
GMD just able to swat them down. That was pretty clinical towards the end. I love that triple setup here after this kill is gone. Where GMD, before this sees play, he had the Paranoia in hand for the other 2 players up there to swing off of. It was really, again, just proactive from TSM. We're starting to see in a lot of these post plants that they're pressing the issue, taking additional space, fighting aggressively, and it's worked out on Sunset, and it's working out so far here on Lotus.
M80 at least have a bye here. They have been struggling so far, let's be clear on that one. Only winning the pistol. After that, rounds M80 would sooner forget. Gonna be a refresh of the one-way here to try and keep TSM at bay. Proto is studying his navel, perhaps.
Trying to make some pressure over on Mound, control that space. They're going to leave Poise there to hold it. Looks like they want to go for this re-clear on Rubble. M80 are playing so close.
Oh, I see. This might be a Rubble lineup. Proto here. Again, diligently getting this one ready. TSM going to want to explode here. Nismo that gives a tickle. That's enough to force Sim away. Only a small amount of damage taken by the raise, but time is short. M80 have given TSM absolutely nothing here. And now they're backing up to the sites. There might be a late call for B here, or a fake as they open the door and head over towards Mound. The Killjoy Util is waiting, though, over at this C site. It's going to get popped now. Xander sees the play across, and then Anna Swarms go to work. 7 at least is able to stay alive, but is forced to stay in the corner. This buys time, but he sprays 2. Now it's going to be M80 on the late return to the site in a 2 versus 3, but 7 and Sim are low, very low.
I mean, it looked for a second there like TSM, you know, left that one in the oven for a bit too long and overcooked that play, but they took it out just in time.
What timing. Koala Noob's already committed to the side at this point. Got nowhere to go, and that's a 3rd for 7. God, he's been good on the multi-kills today. Make no mistake. Horn has to be removed there by Nismo. And Sim, with 4 HP, is able to deliver. TSM salvaged the round and come out with 3 players? That is a great recovery.
Economy cracked and ruined for M80 off that as well. And TSM genuinely, I think they could have gotten B for free. But no, they pivot into C, expecting that those C players would have already rotated off through Waterfall or Halls. That could have resulted in their demise, and it looked like it should have, frankly. All those players coming through main were hit by snake bites. They were vulnerable, but the bullets just did not connect. It was 7 with the Odin, making it, just all of the impact there for the TSM side on entry, forcing M80 on the timeout.
I'm surprised TSM got into C as easily as they did. Killjoy U2 was there, and there were 2 anchored players. And they couldn't really do too much at all. I guess like the Nightfall, like after the fact for the rotating players, gave them great info. The timing of that was just very good by 7, who I would say in the last 6 rounds of Sunset and our hero Lotus has not slowed down at all.
He has been incredible, as has been GMD. That was the duo all of the regular season that was putting work in for TSM. Sim would give you a crazy map here and there, but 7 and GMD, the foundation of the team.
Let's run this one back here. We might have a C's nade combination just in case there's an early play for the orb by the defenders. There isn't one. They're playing well back over towards that A site with Nitro jump spotting here. Should at least have seen Sim as it's the contact cross for TSM out to A long.
Last time on an anti-eco, we saw TSM really bide their time. They've got Sim pressed up into tree.
Inserted.
Could get awkward. Close range against the judge.
Fowler sees him. Nismo holds his nerve, doesn't fire a shot, but the paranoia makes it good. Still, 4 players for M80. Kept very interested in what was happening over at A, as C is being contacted into, but at both extremities, it's judges going to work. And now TSM are out of options. They bounce between A and C, and they've come off second best on both occasions. They're going to try it again, Wyatt. Make their way now into C, but Xander's changed his positioning. He's careful of the haunt, though. Viper's Pit now to pair with this judge. He's got everything that he needs, and he finds poise outside of the pit. Snake biter in his way. Here's the plant go down. A little bit of spray might cost him his life, though, as the Odin there is probing. Looking. Koala Noob as well, playing close. Able to take 7 down now. That's that Odin threat gone. And Proto, though, able to find a molly kill. And M80 bounce back. The judges paving the way for the retake.
They needed that one desperately. And you spoke about it. That little setup into tree was clinical. The Prowler into the paranoia, allowing Nismo to get that first kill. And with all of that presence shown, it just tricks the other players on TSM into thinking that one of those sites will be light, free for the taking. That's why GMD was content with pushing up so far fully silent, unaware that there was going to be a second judge on the map.
There.
M80 really recovering a dire situation early in the game.
Yeah, it's a great round to find a little bit of breathing room there. Viper's Pit comes up at an opportune time, especially when they can't really afford more than those judges. And both of them get purchase. Koala, they're not going to be baited either, trying to fight doggedly for Mound. Playing a long way back here. Expecting an explosive hit once more.
There.
We've already seen the satchel play from Sim on towards C. It's very standard.
There.
If Nitro gets one here anchoring, he'll have the lockdown available for the retake. Could be crucial.
They're forced away. They can't challenge this showstopper. Xander playing with fire as he is here in Link. He's able to jump away. Ken Nismo can't cross there. This has allowed Sim to get way further forward than you would expect, but it's checked for by Xander. Great awareness, but GMD's waiting. Good for 2. Showstopper claims him. Nismo has to spend it, but the paranoia that came in from Koala Noob is perfectly placed and timed.
Grenade!
Now Nismo has some real step to this site. Sees the foot of Poise, but can't convert. Poise able to get on the board kill-wise. And 7 is very, very low in this retake. The lockdown makes this all but impossible. He's done.
absolutely finished. I mean, M80 not playing around at all. They wanted to lock that one up. You can see the money on TSM's pretty dire. They're going to get a bit extra from getting that plant down. But M80 understood the weight of that round, and that committing the lockdown would certainly get them that win. Cheeky decision from Sim to try and push all the way deep there, waterfall into B. Could have imagined a world where that would have been a nasty little timing where he gets the first and just, even if he doesn't get more, buys some time for the team. I like the risk taken. It could have been a sick
He is that
play.
guy. I think we've seen that, right? He is both edges of the sword. I think we've seen him on different maps
Definitely.
over the last couple of days. Gimon, though, wants to set him up, threw him a Vandal this round, as he actually had decent money to bring in. How magnanimous of the French-Canadian.
Good to make your duelist feel like the star
The
on
main
the team
character?
sometimes. Yeah,
Absolutely.
definitely make him feel like the main
I mean,
character.
you can't have Sim, tweeting anime gifs of people powering up before his games and then not make him feel powerful, right? That's just,
Definitely not.
you need that faucet to be turned on at all times. For the record and for legal reasons. I don't know if Sim actually posted one. If I was him, I would.
I just believe
it would
you.
be the Hunter x
Sounds
Hunter
true.
one where, the guy was walking downwards with the lightning hair.
Yep.
It has to be that one. TSM.
It's always that one.
Yeah, or the monkey
VALORANT
D.
classic.
Luffy one, you know what I mean? Either one. Well, oh my
Respect.
goodness. Okay.
TP as well.
Yeah, has a sense for it, gets ahead of the door.
Down B.
Really just going to help reinforce here on B, and he's picked the right site. Best be sure of that. Now there's a smoke in between Sim and his targets. And he doesn't get there because the shrapnel tears into shreds. Now it's up to a Proto and Gimon here. This would be M80's third in a row. They invest two big defensive ultimates over the last couple of rounds, respectively. They've now stabilized their economy, and now they're ripping into TSM. M80 are back in this game in a big way.
Even when GMD loses, he looks like he's going to win. This guy is crazy, man. It was scary for just a moment with Nitro getting baited to try and stop the plant. Proto shooting him in the side of the dome. M80 now finally taking the lead since winning the pistol and giving away that second round in tragic fashion. A good recovery so far, though. BCJ is one off of that Nightfall.
Imagine if he got a
Coming
kill.
into this round.
He'd have it. Just one kill.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. That's dumb. That did. I mean, listen. It is a fact, though. You can't ignore it, but it's fine. He's going to get the orb here. Or maybe he'll get his first kill and take out Poised.
BCJ's immune to those accusations anyway after his first map. He's fine. Xander, often the one finding first kills on the receiving end of it this time around. A little awkward now as TSM see that blood in the water as Xander's just took a normal peek over towards A-Long and ripped one. Imon swings out, connects with Nitro. Now they push on towards the site. They've left a player inserted back towards Rubble, so TSM are inoculated against that late reflank. That's definitely what Nismo has in mind here.
Nitro could have retreated, but he wanted to step up for the team, try and get a couple kills, bide some time. It just doesn't work out. 3 on 5, and what a great seize. Wow, how does BCJ win that?
Of all the ways to find your first kill, not one of the ones I would be expecting. He was seized, and Sim knew exactly where he was. Again, the duality of Sim being exposed to us once more. Not able to win that fight out, and I thought that he was paranoid, but I digress. It's going to be a 3-gun save here for M80. There's really no chance of having any impact on this round any further.
BCJ had gotten the Nightfall early when they got mound control. And you definitely could have seen a scenario in which they used that for a retake if they wanted to go for it 4v5, if Nitro just stayed alive, or if Nitro, retreated, played a passive position in heaven, maybe tries to get one kill, but from a safer location where he can then get out and they can use the Nightfall for a 4-on-4 retake. But he just took the confident line, trying to anchor in sight, which was a high-risk, high-reward maneuver.
There.
Luckily for them, though, they still have enough money to buy into this one, and they will have the Nightfall here.
7 don't buy Odin challenge. Absolutely impossible. Purchase that one up this round as well. Okay, Snakebite even thrown out alongside the C's, so M80 had a minute about holding on to B for the early part of this round. They part with a lot of that util in order to do so. So now heads turn towards A. It's a Proto receiving BCJ, trying to swing out from Baby Door. Paranoia came in there from Kuala Lumpur. Doesn't connect onto a Proto. He went down anyway. Lockdown here. Over the middle part of the map, as Sim's able to capitalize, and okay, some acrimony in that kill perhaps. Sim finally able to build up some momentum. And a good round to make that happen now, as they can lean on the Nightfall and the post-plant if they should desire. But Nitro just feeds himself up to poise there, leaving Xander alone.
A really cool attack around there. That lockdown from Poise, giving them the option to pivot into B from Baby Door while fighting Rubble. Or if they needed to, perhaps still in the cards. I love that play from TSM. You mentioned the Odin. It is so good on this map. And for whatever reason, teams in the Americas do not purchase the Odin often. I wish I could remember this really stupid, nerdy stat that Sideshow told me last week, but it's something like, I wish I could remember the player, but it was something like there's a player in Europe that has bought more Odins in this Americas season than all of the players in Americas combined. It's something like that. I wish I could remember exactly what it was. It's something bananas like that. But listen, Seven is trying to turn that around. He's trying to buy the obnoxious Odin that can just eliminate players through some of the paper-thin walls on this map, over towards Tree especially. That's where he just got one on that round.
Yeah, it looked like that was where Kuala Lumpur was also trying to have some impact. Speaking of which, he's taken an operator here to Mound, looking to cut off any sort of early contact from TSM. Nothing else really notable here. Standard walls set up on both sides. Oh my goodness, Kuala Lumpur. Unless you're lucky stars, you get away with that.
Screen down.
Almost gunned down straight away. He does like to pick up that op on the Omen. Not too bad. I mean, obviously not as swift with the getaway as if you're playing Jet, when you can use that dash, but there's enough situations where you're going to be able to TP away to safety as well. And now off that early contact over towards C, TSM are going to silently garner some space elsewhere towards A.
M80 anything but silent as they speculate with this spam through walls and smokes alike. Fairly slow going for TSM, as you pointed out. They're expecting like a pop here defensively from B main. It doesn't come. Nitro's going to be there in Baby Door. It's going to be a trade. That Odin for 7 goes to work. Looks like we might be ending B here from the KJ util. Now, of course, no use. Viper's Peak going to be thrown down now by the attacker side here. Nismo trying to play around it, but Nightfall is important. He can make all the noise in the world. It's just Sim left. What a retake. And even Kuala Lumpur gets value out of the operator here, leaving a 35 HP Sim to do it all. That's not going to happen.
I mean, that is absolute chaos. Every player deafened by Nightfalls. There's a pit obscuring everyone's view. I mean, everyone is just spinning in 180s trying to spot players before they spot them. Can't hear a goddamn thing. That is a ridiculous scenario. I mean, look at what's occurring here. There's prowlers everywhere. I mean, this game is interesting at times.
That was more Animal Crossing than it was Valorant, if I'm honest with you.
Is that what's going on in Animal Crossing? Yeah. I've never really played it.
There's stuff going everywhere. It's very lively. It's a very lively game.
God. Yeah. We've actually got the attacking op now picked up from Sim. Nitro has actually carried it over instead of Kuala Lumpur, interestingly enough. And he might engage with a duel in Sim, but the actual fighting is towards the C area. What a shot from Nismo. Shades of Cooler right there with a rocket.
That's a Quake reference? Yeah, you are old.
Yeah, I'm not beating the old allegations from earlier.
Holy. Sim pushed up with this operator. Gets a lot of space. So despite being down 7, TSM have been able to find a good extremity to make extreme inroads on. And there's a showstopper opportunity here. He fires it off. But just in time, M80 respond. They back up on that high ground. They're able to re-establish on up and now, and Sim has to cross back through the molly. Dangerous. Seas comes in onto 2, but there's no other util to pair with it. So Gimon will just hear the whispers. Sim has to play this another tight angle. Awkward spot to be. But Gimon's able to go ahead of him. Kwanu trades it out here, but this is only 2 players defensively left for the retake, and Xander is lugging the Odin. Sim here will be unbothered. Completely set up to succeed from that angle, especially with a Proto threatening the backstab right now. Double face. Kwanu, though, is not fast enough, and TSM, thread by thread, unravel it.
Perfect from a Proto. He got a kill in stairs, won that duel, and was able to just circle around through heaven, have all of those players ensnared mid-A site, having to watch multiple angles, a player in tree, of course a Proto from heaven, the other over in grass right there, the same position where you're seeing Nismo now. Perfectly played in the post plant from TSM. Again, they have been so proactive in those situations. They weren't on Breeze. It was to their detriment. They fixed that for Sunset, and they fixed it on Lotus.
Nothing for the Odin. Early Sim so far forward. Picked off, but the trades are good. TSM more than happy to use Sim as a bird offering to scale up and to trade up in kills. Already M80 down to 2 players. They have nothing to do here outside of emerge eventually from this poison orb, and they try and take as much damage as they can. Do some as well, perhaps. Xander at least finds one with a stinger. Gonna circle back. Sorry. Okay. 2 big kills for Xander. He's able to trade up now in a rifle at 77 health, but looking dangerous.
We're doing too much right now.
I can't. Yeah, you cannot ask for any more than that from Xander with a bloody stinger. Okay. Ow! Ow!
Oh my God.
Nitro with the swing. It is good. What a way to end the half as M80 even it up. They were down to 2 players in the first 15 seconds of the round, and they still win it out. Okay, bros. Okay.
That is a fumble from TSM. That's a we already won the round, right, guys? Kind of moment. I mean, look at a Proto here, just swings in, lines them up, 3 down. Oh, man, that is brutal for TSM. It's their fault. It's their fault. So, yeah, I mean, they've messed that one up, but they've still got a 6-6 half. Of course, you have to question if that's enough, given that Lotus is typically quite attacker-sided, though in Challengers that hasn't always been the case. But overall, it does trend that way.
This game has been bizarre. I mean, the whole series, frankly, riddled with these, extremely odd moments, some crazy individual showings. It's definitely one for the history books as far as Challengers is concerned. Oh, yeah, that last round, also just like Animal Crossing. Don't ask why. Tom Nook, he's out there like, yeah, that's my jam.
Quad push out from B. M80 tried the same on their pistol round. It didn't work for them. They also had a haunt towards A that got a lot of players spotted, so they felt comfortable trying to do that, thinking they could catch a timing on the Sentinel that would probably be towards C, and that exactly was the case. Good Prowler here. 5-on-4 retake for TSM to get back in the lead.
C's also thrown out behind that Prowler. Found no one. Here comes Kimon and Sim. Probably having just to come as this smoke comes down. Timing's not quite there. That was beautiful shooting from Xander, if I'm honest. All up to poised here. I believe for a moment, just based on how this game has gone, but it's M80 securing that pistol. A very treacherous first half here. Neither team truly finding their footing is evidenced here by that scoreboard. But M80 have a chance to get a bit of a buffer on this attacking side.
It was a good job from M80 getting set up in heaven there. So they had that cross for the player in sight. Xander getting 2 is the cherry on top. But even if he didn't, I think they could have traded that out pretty effectively, despite being at a man disadvantage. Just good positioning. Wins out in the end. 3 sheriffs purchased for TSM right now.
Extremely Chad behavior. They find nothing with them. M80 here not trying to offer themselves up too easily. They pick the weaker side. Or at least they do appear to have. A Proto with a Sheriff in his hand, though. I'm scared just thinking about it. He's forced to back away, though, now as the Nightmares come through. Xander also able to scale into halls here. And Sim's not ready for it. Okay, Marshall, go kill. Nismo pushing up there and predictably gets brought down as all of TSM stack here.
By All right, I guess the Ghost is fine. Just getting so active. That's what TSM did as well. And it is necessary on Lotus, especially on this C site. You can't get caught playing passively. It'll just be so easy for the retakers. I mean, Xander right now with the Ghost is working himself really close to his ultimate.
Experiment complete.
Well, now, no chances to get even closer to the Viper's Pit. Still Gimon here with a very base choice of spray, has nothing to do except die to the spike. And M80 come out of that round pretty well. I mean, Stingers into the bonus, not incredible, but for a map like this, M80 can find a way to make them useful. It's M80 up by 2.
Yeah, just going to try to find a way to take some close range fights. Maybe get those Stingers into tree.
Xander
Try
very
to
clean.
maybe double satchel someone up
Out of charges.
into heaven on B. Try and take a close fight there. If they want to give one to Nismo. But no, Nismo's actually going to go for the Vandal. The star player for M80. Hero rifle here. And Koala Noob again is going to pick up an Outlaw on a round 2. And there are 4 light armor players on TSM. If they walk into the wrong angle, Koala Noob might be lying in wait.
Koala Noob giving extreme circa 2022 mummy energy on this Omen, constantly trying to buy up a rifle, rather a scoped weapon. Thinks about the paranoia into tree, but has to back away from the paint shells. They're going to clear it though with 2 forms of utility. Slowly, TSM are starting to encroach here. Both from B and the long flank from C. The hit comes quickly. Seven can't quite set his feet in time. Sim is ready to receive though, but Koala Noob does find value with that Outlaw. Looked easy for him, in fact. And the only players left for TSM are those flanking elements, Wyatt.
I was one of those light armored players. And there's a reason Nismo bought that Vandal. So solid on the entry for M80 when he's playing Raze. Making it look easy and making the game look like it's actually firmly in M80's control now, which
What a bonus.
hasn't at any point really in this entire series, which is shocking. I mean, even on Breeze, they won, but they were at a massive disadvantage after the first half. It was neck and neck for the rest of it. Despite getting 16 first kills on Sunset, they lose 13-7. Finally, kind of a moment here where they're taking a serious advantage in one of these games.
Yeah, this is big for momentum. Absolutely massive. A very stable bonus in which they even get to pick up, I think, the Odin. I think 7 put one Odin into this round. He got overwhelmed very quickly on that A side. Good looks for M80. Yeah, there he is. Oh, just can't get value from it at all. The hit's too fast.
Yeah, and with that smoke down heaven, the player that was up there couldn't assist him. They couldn't have a little high-low setup, anything like that. No trades.
Here.
TSM are forcing up what they can here. They're kind of sending it on this round. Just a sheriff for a proto. I mean, he's known for that weapon. He's going to have to go off with it.
Oh, Gimbon. What a win to take. Swings that wall, and I think it was only Xander showing. Maybe the memo missed by the rest of M80. No one is there to trade off that. So now the Viper Ball, forget about it. It's not coming up again this round.
Cover going
Over towards C seems to be the pivot for M80. Bouncing from extremity to extremity. But a Poison Orb's going to slow them up. Now maybe be an option. They'll at least try and imply that's where they're headed.
Going to get another orb onto BCJ, the man carrying the spike, because that's just going to get him one away from the Nightfall. If they're able to get the plant down, he'll have it for post-plant.
Snakebite doesn't find much value from the defenders as M80 come in and they hit hard. It's going to be 2 players now coming back through from halls, and BCJ is able to check that preemptively with the Prowler. Plant here might be for Mound. Yes. So M80 hoping to play off of the side here. Gimon does not have any smokes up right now. And the Nightfall will follow.
Connects onto both. Massive delay.
here.
And it's going to allow all 3 players to safely exit into Mound where they're posted up. Spikes planted for them.
Bring them down. One enemy remaining.
No more distractions.
One enemy
My ult
remaining.
is ready.
Oh, great shot from 7 there. But BCJ clears it up. It's just too easy with the spike planted in that situation. Well handled from M80. They're extending the lead, and they're on the verge of taking this game. TSM, once again, it looked like they were going to try to force up with whatever they could, have a few Guardians. They're going to opt to take the timeout here, speak with their coach, Faded. GMD putting up another solid performance on this map. Poise struggling a bit after really being the MVP for the team on Sunset. And at this point, they have really struggled to anchor these site execs. They might want to think about playing more of a retake-focused style. That might benefit them greatly here, especially since they're going to be getting close to some of the ultimates at this point. And if you haven't noticed, Uber definitely crashed. But hopefully, by then you notice, and you didn't think that I was just in absolute yap mode. All right, M80, Nismo, one away from the ultimate. They're going to go for a fast play into A here. TSM with an attempt to control over at C Mound.
I'll find you.
Haunt is going to be thrown for some information from Seven. Not going to get too much, but the fact that TSM have been able to push 2 players all the way out of C is going to allow for... Rotates towards A, but they don't want to commit to it right now. That being a Proto and Seven far back. Oh, hey, Gompers.
What's up?
Are you here to do some play-by-play? So I'm not
Uber.
just lonely in this call.
I'm Uber.
New Uber just dropped.
Uber Wyatt duo. Anyway, Nismo. Definitely looking towards backside. Yeah, but already Fade trying to put forth some sort of execution on the side of TSM. A Proto looking for that first-hand shot. And no direct information. Shots already fired, though. Already 3K coming down there for TSM. So big pickup to try to take down that 10-7. Although they are literally just getting smacked. There is absolutely no way that they just let this happen, dude. Xander with an insane Zippo clutch. New Uber just dropped again.
Oh, wait, is old Uber here? Sorry, Uber. New Uber just dropped. You're out of here, buddy. This industry's messed up.
Absolutely. Sorry about that.
It's a cutthroat space, man.
Bit of a power surge, man. I step away for 1 minute and these youngins just get in there. That's crazy. Yeah, I better be on alert here now as we head into round 18 as M80 have really stretched that lead out wide because of course I was watching the whole time.
All right, Koala Noob has that attack side operator. Posted up to watch him out where TSM have been getting extremely aggressive. Pushing really deep. Pushing past this one way at times. But now M80, they're set up for a big play here. Tons of util coming in. Nitro gets the first.
And Gima really forced that. He really wanted to take a fight. Behind that one way. M80, they're all ready for it. They're looking good here. Nismo going to move up. Showstopper doesn't create that much space as it seems like Seven didn't fear it. Well, now he moves away. The Fade util catching onto him. Gives him reason to try and link up again with Sim. Who swings at the high angle. Out of sync with Seven, but isn't punished for it. BCJ down to 4, but he's happy to hold his ground here. Satchel across for Sim. I don't know if he's noted. Yes. M80 are aware of his position. And Nitro with 4 in the round brings him down. TSM struggling. They look absolutely rudderless.
And finally, some dominance here from M80. We're getting at just the very tail end of this series. This is frankly what we expected going into this to see from the get-go. And you've got to give credit, to TSM for being able to make this series so close, taking a map, going 34 rounds deep in OT on Breeze. but this might just be their last round in the series, their last round in the mid-season cup, and their last round until we see them in stage 2.
They may just well be out of gas. Still some promising signs and plenty to build on. This is a newer sort of look for this team. Everyone's looking towards Ascension. Well, of course, no chance to break into VCT proper.
TSM have that Viper's Pit down on C, a Proto playing close in it with the Judge. So that's allowing the rest of the players to focus their attention more towards B and A, hoping that M80, the attacking side, will run into this Killjoy setup.
Slow and steady here for M80. Knowing there's a good chance they're going to walk into some shotguns, right? With where the TSM economy is at, they're playing it safe. B-main getting checked by a Prowler. Here comes the pivot. There is a smoke over towards upper. So there's an opening here. And behind the lockdown, it's in a relatively safe spot. A very safe spot, rather. It will go off. Now he's going to keep TSM out of the picture. Now we're in the post plan. Kwanu hoping to try and keep poising Kimon out of the fight. And the paranoia is not quite lined up where it needs to be. And both of these loose extremities for M80. Able to pick up kills. Very little to work with now. 2 Guardians and a Judge. That's all that TSM have to their name. The Proto hoping to swing. Speculative at best. The tap on the spike. Seven and Sim both go down. And M80 recover. They bounce back. And they land the plane in a pretty clean fashion. Just looking at this map, you would not have known the cluster storm that transpired on the first 2. M80 will advance here in our mid-season cup.
There was a lot of turbulence, but they did land it at the very end. Finally seeing just completely comprehensive good play from M80 in the very, very end, because at times certainly not looking like themselves, and TSM not looking like themselves, but in the positive way, where they've really stepped it up from the regular season. At least, you know, aside from just giving credit to them for keeping it close against M80, one of the best teams we have, definitely giving us some, you know, excitement and reason to be looking forward to watching them when we actually get to stage 2, because they look significantly better than their regular season.
Yeah, and look, we've had reason to doubt M80 with the way that their regular stage 1 ended in this group, right? They lost to Turtle Troop, hurt them hard. Like, we thought they were, you know, above and beyond the best team in that Group B. That was brought into question, and it will remain in question pending the results of M80 showing here through the rest of this. And remember, they were the team that didn't make it through Ascension. They were the team that got stopped at the final hurdle by the guard. So many people expected them to be hungry on the run back and in a position to take challenges by storm. That has not happened. So here's a chance to make that big build forward into the later parts of this mid-season cup. Because remember, the circuit points are on the line here, Wyatt. That's a lot to play for. We're going to go to a break. When we come back, we'll rather go to the desk to break this one down. And then, of course, we'll be setting up for our second and final best of 3 of the day.
Oh, hello. It is us. It's a break for them, but not for us. We're going to be back over here. Also, welcome to the desk, Uber 2.
What's up?
I'm glad to have you here. How do you enjoy that
Looking
match?
a little different. Actually,
Thank you. It's because I
it
shaved.
was really sounding Australian. So
It's because I shaved. Today I shaved.
Yeah.
And I'm very, very happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, no,
It
no.
truly is absolute. I'll stop.
All right, we're moving on. We're moving on from that. I can't handle that one. Let's talk about this map and what we got to see. Because coming into Lotus, I mean, Dan, we were talking about the history of Lotus for both of these teams. M80 calling into question after what we got to see from this series in TSM. But M80, I mean, all the rest is gone. They're showing a great showing here, and they're going to stick along in the mid-season cup.
it's a great performance by M80 to close it out. And it's so crazy because this map is so silly. You see 3 rounds for M80 on the defense, and it's like, yep, it's over. M80 are winning it. 3 is all you need, but they got even more than that. They got 6 rounds for the half. They went into the second one, and they carried on momentum all the way until the very end. So an M80 that started not in the hottest way for the map number 1 of Breeze, but they're able to close it out, make it look clean. And I love that throughout this series, we got to see different pieces, different players coming together and being the difference makers when the team needed it.
100%. And I liked what they were talking about on cast, talking about M80 moving on forward into this, because they have taken a stumble when we're looking at that week 5, and that sunset that they lost definitely seemed a little uncharacteristic. But it was nice here, Gomp, to see a little bit more of a step up to be able to close this out. And this will be a chance to kind of review where a couple of things fell a little short so they can hit the ground running for their next series.
Yeah, and honestly, keeping the title of one of the best teams in Challenger as well. Yeah, it took a lot of time. I mean, obviously coming up to this third map, I do feel like there were some faults. Like, I don't feel like I saw the TSM that I saw the other day, right? Like, which is one of the things that kind of was a bit unfortunate to me. Their playstyle was a little more passive rather than the super hard defense plays that I really did enjoy seeing to gather that early info. And I felt like they were lacking a lot in that sense. So it did give M80 a huge advantage in terms of what the attack and the defense was looking like. So big congratulations to the team that, again, it just continues to keep that dominance.
I think this was great for TSM this whole series. Taking a map away from M80 is something that only one team this year has been able to say that they've done, and that's Turtle Troop. They took 2 maps away from them, and this time around TSM just takes 1. It is, for TSM, a little unfortunate. I would love to see more of them, but they had to face that hard, difficult opponent of M80, and that eliminates them from the mid-season cup. And TSM that made some improvements, have made changes in compositions, have made changes in the way that they want to approach the aggression into the round, but in M80 at the end, the experience ends up allowing them to close it out, and are in a good way are able to depend on some of the momentum that they get into the early rounds, into the bonus round that we saw in the second half, and carry it to the end. And that's hard to do, and that is something that comes with experience, comes with a strong IGL, comes with a strong coaching staff, and an M80 that continues to be in the competition for that reason.
And I want to talk about a strong performance coming out from M80's Xander here on this, because Xander, I mean, such a clutch player, but looking back at this map of Lotus here, Dan, I mean, the pop-off was real.
Xander wanted to close this game so long ago. If we remember, we go all the way back to Breeze on that last round when it seems like the overtime was never gonna end. This is the guy that got 4K and guaranteed that was it. He didn't want to see any more of that Breeze. And on this map, on this last map of Lotus, it was the exact same scenario, but constantly throughout every single round. So you were seeing the multi-kills by Xander. It's a player that we always have hype up, that has been on the scene for so long, that is a player that the audience, the fans, they love a lot, and maybe the most out of the M80 squad. And for this reason, very consistent, but also that support player when he needs to be. It was just today, and for this map, the last map specifically of Lotus, was the perfect mix between getting your own kills, playing a little bit individual, but also supporting the rest of the squad to close it.
Being able to have a player like Xander step up right when you need it after a really long series, exactly what you needed. Definitely has been a long series, so I want you two to be able to have a little bit of a break as well, and we have our interview with Nitro lined up. So enjoy our post-series highlights. We'll be right back.
One enemy remaining. I punish you. One enemy remaining.
Powerless.
Enemy kill. One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining. One enemy. Idiot! Pulling them in. Grounded. Here. One enemy remaining. My ult. One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining. Listen up. Fire in the hole. Satchel out. Satchel out. Got him. Wait for me. Satchel out. One enemy remaining.
One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining.
Three kills. My
One enemy remaining. Attackers win. One enemy remaining. Last player standing. One enemy remaining.
My ult.
One enemy remaining.
It's that M80. They're staying alive here in the mid-season cup and are going to be moving on into the semi-finals. And to chat with me a little bit more about that, I have Nitro on the line. I have to say congratulations first off for the win, staying alive in all of this. This definitely was a series that was a little longer than a couple of us anticipated. How did this match up versus your expectations heading into the match?
We knew it was going to be a hard match. Obviously, like we played them, I think our first match of the season. We knew they have a pretty good roster on paper. So when we first played them, they didn't really have much practice together, and we had a lot of practice. So I wouldn't say it was easier, but I could tell that they have a lot more stuff down. And obviously, they had a really strong match in showing yesterday, especially Sim with like all the first kills he had. So we just had a really strong game plan going into each map. But I think it was just we had a bit of nerves coming in. Into the series, and ultimately like we wound up like not playing parts of the game that we talked about, and I think that's kind of like where we fell apart. But overall it was still a decent day for us, I would say.
I mean, we definitely got a really long start to the day when we're looking at Breeze, considering we went to an 18-16 scoreline on that one. So with even just a couple game plans falling apart, we did see M80 rise above in the end. So how did you make those adjustments to be able to find that edge in an overtime that kind of on our end seemed like it wasn't going to end at some point?
Yeah, it was a lot of mind games going on, especially like whenever you play that many overtimes. It's just like you're doing things that worked maybe like 15 rounds ago, so you got to think of like back to like what happened and how they're playing, what they're going to change. There's so many things to think about. That's why overtime is fun, and that's why just in general like the game is fun. But yeah, it was a super long game. We're trying to make it look like a CS game there. It was like over 30 rounds, which is like insane in Valorant, but I'm just happy that we took the dub in the end. That was a huge win for us, considering like our second map was a little bit lackluster.
Yeah, let's talk about that sunset, because we got to see that this is M80's pick. We've seen that it's been okay, and it's something that kind of went a little bit more disastrously. So is this something that TSM got to surprise you on, considering they've changed up their comp recently, or what kind of happened over?
Not even. Like we had a really strong game plan going into it. We understood how they were going to play, what their setups were going to be, because they just showed it yesterday. We knew their comp and all that stuff. I think we kind of just lost ourselves in a way. Like we weren't really playing like ourselves in that map particularly. Like the first map was okay, and then the second map was, I feel like we just weren't really playing like up to our standards. And if you watch the game back, like we're gonna watch the game back, and we're gonna show like a lot of examples of these things. So we had a long talk outside and just talked about like what we talked about this guy. We talked about like our mistakes from that map, and then tried to make sure like we didn't make the same mistakes like going into the third map. And overall it felt a lot better. The third map was super comfortable for us.
I'm glad to hear, especially too, I was a little worried when I saw the Lotus, because we've seen M80 wins, but they've been pretty close. And then obviously after the Turtle Troop loss. So has this been a map that's been kind of scrutinized, a lot of work going into it? Because it looks like a lot of a better performance coming out today. Yeah,
I mean, we definitely put a lot of work into Lotus, and I'm not sure if like they thought that we put a lot of work into it, so they would pick a map that they haven't seen from us and Breeze, since we haven't really showed the map much. So yeah, we've been working really hard on Lotus. We've been working really hard in general on all of our maps. So just creating more protocols, just trying to figure out like the current meta of the map, and just playing a lot in general. We've been scrimming a lot, so we have a lot of reps under our belt. It's just a matter of like us showing up on that day and hitting our shots, to be honest.
Understandable. Well, I'm definitely glad you're able to show up there on that Lotus and be able to close it out. There's still a lot of Valorant ahead. I want to make sure you can chat with the team as well. Nitro, congrats on the win. Thank you so much for chatting.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. As for us, definitely a really fun series for the day. The Mid-Season Cup has only been delivering so far. We still have another series on the day as well. It's going to be Blinn going up against Turtle Troop after the break.
They say in life, there are no guarantees. They say a lot of stuff like that. Slow it down. Play it safe. Hedge your bets. So what? You gonna listen to that? You gonna stop because they can't guarantee you'll pull this off? No guarantee you'll win? No guarantee everything's gonna be fine? In life, you make your own guarantees. Nobody else will light your way. Start your own fire and keep it burning. And we guarantee you'll have one hell of a lifetime.